In an apparently very painful moment on Tuesday evening, an elderly woman who appears suffering from age-related bending and muscle weakness known medically as kyphosis could be seen struggling and battling helplessly for the safety of her own life as a group of terrorists invaded and took over a church in Nigeria. The worshippers of Christ Apostolic Church, CAC, were attacked during their church service that was live-streamed on social media platforms, and the video live coverage captured the moment the elderly woman was moving from one hideout to another, hiding under table, trying to move fast and run for safety alongside others before the terrorists, who also parked the worshippers' belongings, intercepted the camera device that was live streaming the church service and probably destroyed the device. The attack, according to Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA News Media, known as ECWA Nationwide Gist. The attackers were Islamic terrorists and they invaded the church located at Eruku community, a border town with Kogi State in the Ekiti local government area of Kwara State around 5 p.m. on Tuesday evening, killing 3 worshippers at the spot and kidnapped several Christian worshippers in the church including the presiding pastor. The ECWA News Media has reported in recent days that the attacks on Christian communities in Nigeria is growing almost higher on daily basis, specifically stating that Reverend Father Bobby Pascal, parish priest of St. Stephen Parish in Kush Gaju, Kagako local government area, Kaduna State, was kidnapped by Islamic terrorists in the early hours on Monday, November 17, 2025. In addition, the ECWA News Media also published image of 12 residents including an ECWA pastor that were kidnapped by Islamic terrorists last week at the Gidanwaya community in Lere local government area of Kaduna State. The safety of the elderly woman is yet to be ascertained as at press time, as the Kwara State Police Command of the Nigeria Police Force described the successful terrorist act as an attempted bandits attack, according to Sahara Reporters News Media. Eyewitnesses reported that the attackers came in suddenly, shooting sporadically, and gathered some worshippers, including the pastor, and marched them into the bush. The exact number of abducted victims remains unknown, but residents say the attackers fled through bush paths linking neighboring communities. The incident has left the community in panic and chaos, with residents and travelers fleeing into surrounding bushes for safety. At midnight on Tuesday, some stranded travelers in a viral video called for help as they could not continue their journey due to the terrorists who were on rampage in the town. Evangelical Church Winning All, ECWA Nationwide Gist News Media stated that, this evening, around 5 p.m. today, Islamist terrorists invaded CAC in Eruku, Kwara State while evening service was going on. The pastor of the church and some females have been kidnapped, 3 people shot dead. The church program was on live stream when bandits entered the church. In another report, the ECWA News Media stated that another Catholic priest has reportedly been abducted by Islamic terrorists in Kaduna. Reverend Father Bobby Pascal, Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, under the command and control of the President and Commander-in-Chief, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has kept mum since early morning night on Monday when a MAG news agency, the international media outlet of the Islamic State West Africa province, ISWAP, started sending and disseminating a photograph of Brigadier General Musa Uba in ISWAP captivity, indicating untrue. The Brigadier General, the Nigerian Army authority, had earlier claimed on Saturday to be safe and led his troops back to base, a statement the Army issued to challenge media reports that the Brigadier General was captured and held captive by the ISWAP terrorists after the terrorists ambushed the 25 Task Force Brigade of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, killing several soldiers and civilian JTF members in Wajiroko village near Sambisa Forest in Borno State on Friday around 5 p.m. This Humangal News Media that was among the earliest news providers that reported the ISWAP deadly attacks on Nigeria soldiers on Saturday, after being challenged with a denial press release issued by the Nigerian Army authority that the Brigadier General was not kidnapped, claiming the Brigadier General led his men to fort through the ambush of the terrorists. forcing the terrorists to flee in disarray. Humangle on Monday early morning published a news report and insisted that the Brigadier General was in ISWAP captivity. According to Humangle, it was already in possession of a photograph showing the Brigadier General in ISWAP captivity, but, due to its editorial policy, it would not publish the image. Soon, the image of the kidnapped Brigadier General became available to some media through a MAG news agency publication that claimed that the Brigadier General was executed shortly after being interrogated by the ISWAP terrorists. The MAG only presented a photo evidence of the Brigadier General being captured, but any material evidence, if the Brigadier General has been killed, was not provided. Following the apparent unfortunate development in the Nigerian Army community, former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar on Monday in a statement personally signed called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to admit incompetence and the president should either ask for help or tendered a letter of resignation immediately. According to the former Nigeria Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, I am deeply saddened and extremely shocked and disturbed by news making the rounds of the killing of Brigadier General Musa Uba by terrorists and the failure of the military hierarchy to clearly explain how it happened or what went wrong, as initial official denials indicated that this was not the case. This for me is unequivocally a failure of political leadership, as the president seems only more interested in decimating the opposition by all means possible, while forgetting his crucial role as Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces. General Musa's death, along with the deaths of some of the troops he was leading, is one death too many and a bold terrorist resurgence our dear country cannot afford. I urge all citizens and our military leaders to take heart, as even this season shall pass away. To Mr. President, the security of the lives of our people is your primary responsibility and you must live up to it or be humble enough to admit it. United Nigeria Airlines confirmed in a statement issued a few minutes ago that two popular Nigeria social media influencers, Martins Vincent Ots aka Veridagman and Freedom Okpitritz Atsboy aka Mr. Jollof, were deplaned and handed over to Asaba International Airport Police Authority for investigation after the two celebrities goes physical with each other inside the United Nigeria Airlines aircraft as the plane was about to depart from Asaba to Lagos early morning on Monday. In a press release issued and made available by the airline's public relations officer, Chibuike Unoka, the United Nigeria Airlines confirms that an altercation occurred between two passengers, identified as Martins Vincent Ots, Veridagman, and Freedom Okpitritz Atsboy, Mr. Jollof, during the boarding of Flight UNO 523 at Asaba International Airport on the morning of the 17th of November 2025. In full compliance with global aviation safety protocols, our crew responded immediately and professionally to de-escalate the situation. Both passengers were deboarded without delay to ensure the safety, comfort, and security of all other passengers and crew members. They were subsequently handed over to airport security for further investigation. United Nigeria Airlines places the highest priority on safety and maintains a zero-tolerance policy for any conduct that threatens the security or well-being of passengers or crew. After all standard procedures were completed, the flight departed safely while the passengers involved in the altercation were still with the authorities. We remain firmly committed to providing a safe, respectful, and secure travel experience across our network. Videos made online by co-passengers on the plane showed Veridagman threatening to slap Mr. Jollof, and Mr. Jollof advanced towards him in a manner that was initially and apparently perceived by others inside the plane as a joke, until the situation escalated into a mild brawl as crew members and passengers tried to intervene. It is gathered that the fight occurred as a result of misunderstanding both had since 2024, wherein Veridagman had reportedly vowed to attack Mr. Jollof anytime anywhere. Shortly after the fight, Veridagman in a video statement said that, I don't chop Jollof father for inside plane. Man way day bite, I beat am.
Don't back on that for flag, we'll slap you on that. One life,
is it? Media, I get a
Please don't, see.
Politics of obvious and apparent personal vendetta among some youths in Edo State, which has been ongoing for years, most especially since the immediate former governor of the state, Godwin Obaseki, left office on November 12, 2024, took a new twist on Sunday night in the city of Manchester in the United Kingdom, as a yet-to-be properly identified man walked into an event hall where the former governor, Godwin Obaseki, and his wife, Betty, were scheduled to meet Edo people, and attacked one of their main political and media supporters, Albert Obaze, who probably had been in the bad books of some Edo youth's sequel to his ways of always defending the ex-governor Obaseki and exchanging words with those against the ex-governor. Videos made available online indicated that Albert Obaze was attacked while he was live streaming the event on Facebook and other social media platforms as guests were coming in and waiting for the arrival of the former Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, and his wife, Betty. Initially, the suspected attacker walked up to the victim and asked to have a conversation with him, saying, "I am the double chief you are looking for, come let's talk," but Albert Obaze refused and replied to the attacker that, "You are the one looking for me." What happened? As Albert Obaze continued to demand to know why the attacker had decided to see him, immediately, the attacker hit the victim on the face. Manchester City Police were seen alongside their vehicles shortly after the attack, but the City Police Department is yet to issue a statement as at the time of filing in this report. Albert Obaze, in a Facebook live streaming on Monday early morning night at a hospital in Manchester, said that he's currently having difficulty with hearing in one of his ears hit by the attacker. On November 5, 2025, while on live Facebook video streaming, Albert Obaze had raised alarms of act of possible threat to his life by a man simply identified as Double Chief of Manchester, who he said had threatened to beat him repeatedly if he visited Manchester to attend and organize the Obaseki thank you visit to his supporters. Also during the live video, Albert Obaze narrated how he was almost attacked by some Edo youths in Italy, thus described some Edo youths abroad as people who always act like animals. Before now, Albert Obaze may have faced a lot of threats of possible attacks issued by some Edo youths who also see him as an enemy of the Benin monarch following the controversies surrounding the establishment of Museum of the West African Art, MOWA, in Edo State, which some youths protested and prevented the commissioning of the multi-billion naira cultural hub last Sunday, an act which led to foreign guests being escorted to safety by the Nigeria police force team personally led by the Edo State Police Commissioner. The continued verbal attacks and insults on Albert Obaze and his family, especially his biological parents, in reactions to the political aide's statements over the controversies surrounding the MOWA establishment, made his younger brother, Smart Obaze, to issue a video statement in recent days and insulted his younger brother's principal, ex-Governor Godwin Obaseki, for allegedly endangering his brother's life and bringing all manners of insults to their family, even when his elder brother, Albert Obaze, was never given any political position during his 8 years as governor of Edo State. Nigerian Army Authority has confirmed the killing of 4 persons with the inclusion of 2 soldiers and 2 civilian JTF when members of the Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP terrorists on Friday evening ambushed a brigade of Nigerian Army, personally led by the brigade commander, Brigadier General M. Uber, around Wajiroko community in Azir Malte area of Damboa local government area of Borno State, which, according to Humangle News Media, the ISWAP terrorists opened fire on a convoy of several military and civilian joint task force vehicles, causing the brigade of the armed forces of Nigeria an apparent full destabilization, leading to the Brigadier General missing in action for several hours but started responding to WhatsApp messages few moments later, but the Nigerian Army Authority insisted that the Brigadier General and the commander of the 25 Task Force Brigade personally led the Nigerian Army troops back to base, after an apparent failed attempt to rescue communities that are probably still under terrorists' control in the areas close to Sambisa Forest. According to Lieutenant Colonel Apollonia Anil, the acting director of the Nigerian Army Public Relations, in a statement issued on Saturday, troops of 25 Task Force Brigade, on routine patrol to secure communities around Wajiroko in Azir Multe, Damboa local government area of Borno State, came under a sudden and heavy insurgents' fire while returning from a successful patrol within the fringes of Sambisa Forest. The patrol team, which was led by the Commander 25 Brigade Brigadier General M. Uber and comprised troops of 25 Task Force Brigade and members of Civilian Joint Task Force, CJTF, courageously fought through the insurgents' ambush with superior firepower, forcing them to withdraw in disarray and to abandon their mission. During the encounter, 2 brave soldiers and 2 heroic CJTF members paid the supreme price while on active service to the nation. While commending the troops for the gallantry, the Army High Command commiserates with families and associates of the deceased gallants for their heroic sacrifice to the nation. The Army headquarters also wishes to debunk the fake narrative going round some media platforms online alleging the abduction of the brigade commander. The general public is hereby advised to disregard the fake news regarding the incident while praying for the continuous success of our gallant servicemen and women. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wide Shebu, Nigerian Army Medal, salutes the uncommon bravery, resilience and sacrifice of the gallant troops who have continued to operate in one of the most dangerous theaters of conflict on behalf of our dear nation. Their unflinching commitment, even in the face of grave danger, remains a powerful reminder of the daily sacrifices being made by our gallant servicemen and women to keep Nigeria safe. Humangle in its news publication had reported that an attack from members of the Islamic State West Africa Province, ISWAP, occurred around 5 p.m. yesterday near Sabongari in Damboa local government area, Borno State, northeastern Nigeria. The terrorists, concealed along the route, opened fire on a mixed convoy of soldiers and members of the Civilian Joint Task Force. President Volodymyr Zelensky has ordered the new Prime Minister of Ukraine, Yulia Sviridenko, to involve law enforcement agencies including the anti-corruption police in the mass audits of Ukraine's state-owned companies. Zelensky, who gave the order this week while in one-on-one meeting with the female Prime Minister, said, "The law enforcement agencies of Ukraine must take immediate action based on the outcome or results of the audits being initiated by Yulia Sviridenko, the current Prime Minister of Ukraine, who assumed office on July 17, 2025, after being confirmed by the Verkhovna Rada, meaning Ukraine's parliament, following President Volodymyr Zelensky's nomination of Sviridenko as part of a major government reshuffle, replacing the previous Prime Minister, Denis Shmyhal, who became the new Minister of Defense, and Sviridenko previously served as the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Development and Trade. The new position made her the second woman in Ukraine's history to hold the position of Prime Minister. Meanwhile, during the week, Zelensky also announced that the Nordic countries, Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, along with other Baltic-friendly countries of Ukraine, have decided to commit an additional $500 million to the prioritized Ukraine requirements list, Pearl Initiative, a NATO-led initiative to expedite the supply of critically needed US-manufactured weapons to the country, which, Zelensky said, will be of a substantial help. In a number of statements during the week, Zelensky said, "I had a meeting with the Prime Minister of Ukraine. First and foremost, we focused on the situation with recovery efforts in the regions after the Russian strikes. Repair crews are working almost around the clock wherever needed, and the necessary resources have been deployed. We are increasing our reserve of equipment, and work with partners on this issue is constantly ongoing." Yulia Sviridenko also reported on the implementation of support programs for frontline and border communities. "We are ensuring the necessary funding. Starting tomorrow, a new winter support program for our people will be launched. Government officials will present all the details publicly. Last year, more than 14 million Ukrainians benefited from winter support, and we expect no smaller scale this winter. The Prime Minister reported on the launch of audit processes in state-owned companies. We agreed that the audits must be conducted promptly, and all results must be forwarded to law enforcement and anti-corruption agencies for appropriate action. Personnel decisions will follow based on the findings. I also instructed that Ukraine's key partners be promptly informed about the audit outcomes and related decisions. Transparency in state-owned companies and the elimination of any schemes must be guaranteed. We also discussed personnel changes in the government. The Prime Minister of Ukraine will propose candidates for the posts of Minister of Energy and Minister of Justice. Last night, patriots performed well, successfully intercepting Russian ballistic missiles. Yet we still need considerably more forces, systems, and compatible missiles to protect lives. This week, the Nordic countries, Denmark, Finland,
After-ISWAP-Ambushed, bringing you the news in a more digital way.